Hey everybody, it's Sarah. Back again with another pre-op video. Today is Monday. My surgery is scheduled for Friday, so I'm 4 days pre-op right now. Today I thought I would make a video talking a little bit more about my history, food issues, emotional issues, just things related to being overweight my whole life. Stuff that I think it's important to talk about in a video before I have surgery. It may be a bit emotional, may go to a few dark places, there might be some crying, so if you're not up for that, feel free to shut this video off. I don't normally love the idea of talking about really personal things on the internet, but I think in this case that to get to where I want to be, to achieve the goal that I had in mind when I started making videos, which is to help other people who have had similar experiences or are in the same situation, and to be as real as possible. That means being exposed and being vulnerable and sharing things that maybe I wouldn't normally share. So I'm going to do that today. So I made a video a while back called A Little Bit of History. Talked a bit about my relationship with food, my family, that sort of thing. So some of this will be similar to that video, some of it won't. And in past videos I also made mention of other times that I've lost weight and that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk about those things too. So as a child, I was always overweight. I don't remember ever being not overweight. There were probably times that I wasn't huge. I was maybe bigger than average, but unfortunately, my parents, my family, it was an issue for them. It was something that was constantly something that they talked about. Going back to that video, I mentioned that my grandparents, my father's parents, who were Italian, lived with us basically the whole entire time that I lived in my parents' house, which was till I was 19. And my grandmother was a great cook. She was really into cooking healthy. I mean, I ate extremely healthy as a child, but I was still overweight. There's no kid, I'm sure, in the world, okay, maybe not in the world, but in my school at least, who probably ate as healthy as I did, and yet I was the fat one. So is that genetics? Is that portion size? Is that, I don't know, but that's the way it was. There was never a time in my life when I felt okay about my body when I lived at home, because I wasn't ever told that the way I was okay. Even when I wasn't that overweight, and looking back at like photos of myself, I wasn't that fat. There were times when I was really not that big, but it was something that was constantly brought up in my house. And yet when it came to meal times, it was always eat everything on your plate. You know, I was always being encouraged to eat, and yet being told that I was too fat. So that was obviously a lot of mixed messages at that point. I also got a lot of the, you need to lose weight because boys don't like fat girls. That was my grandmother's way of encouraging me. And don't get me wrong, I love my family. I love my parents, my grandparents. They did what they thought was best for me at the time. I don't think they realized how it affected me, and so I don't blame them. But they made it harder on me. Obviously in school, I'm not just overweight, but I'm also huge. I'm 5'10.5". And in school, I was always extremely, extremely tall. To the point that when I was in 8th grade, people thought I was a teacher at my school. So people always thought I was older than I was. And I got teased a lot for just being the big girl, the fat girl, the tall girl, whatever. I pretty much got it all. Now, to be honest, I grew a really thick skin when it came to stuff like that because I just got used to it. So it didn't really affect me that much. And, I think my weight was pretty in control because my eating was very controlled by my family, my parents. Definitely until I went to high school. So in 8th grade, I think if I'm not mistaken, around the time of my graduation from grade 8, I think I weighed about 212 pounds, or in the low 200s anyway, for sure. And then I went to high school. And, high school is what it is. I was not part of the popular crowd, but I didn't want to be part of the popular crowd. It was never important to me. I wasn't, a social pariah. I just didn't hang out with the people who were so-called popular. But again, I had lots of friends, and it wasn't really a concern for me. I still got teased in high school to some degree, but it was actually not as bad as when I was in elementary school. I had a huge high school, so there was only some people that could get picked on. I don't know. It just wasn't a big deal. And to be honest, at this point, I don't even remember what the trigger was for this happening. I was 16, and I guess I just was unhappy with the way I looked. I don't know. I think I probably weighed about 250 pounds at the time. But again, at 5'10.5" and having a large frame, I mean, I was not like huge by any stretch of the imagination. If I look back now at photos of myself, I can't believe how not huge I was. But somehow I was unhappy with myself. I don't know what that was. My best friend at the time was like model thin. She was 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there. And she was super thin. And so that, I think a lot of people would think, oh, that must have had something to do with it. I don't really think that it did. I don't know if it had to do with that, if it was a guy I was trying to impress. I have no idea. I don't remember. But what I do remember is that I decided that I would try whatever I needed to try to lose weight. So I tried diet pills, and that didn't really work. I tried vomiting. I tried making myself throw up. The funny part is that I can't actually make myself throw up. I learned. I can gag myself until the cows come home, but I don't vomit. I have a really strong stomach, and so I was a failed bulimic at that point. I know it's not funny, but somehow it's funny to me. And then I just tried straight up not eating. So basically for, 6 months, I just only ate once a day. I made an excuse for not eating breakfast at home. I would go to lunch with my friends and eat salad. And then I would go home and I would push my dinner around the plate, or I would make an excuse for why I didn't want to eat, or I would eat a little bit just to satisfy my family, and that was it. And that went on for probably 6 or 7 months, and I lost 40 pounds, obviously, because I was on a really low-calorie diet. And everyone was so happy for me, and I got so much great feedback about how good I looked and how proud they were that I had lost weight, and nobody thought to ask or consider how I had lost weight. It didn't cross anyone's mind whatsoever that I had an eating disorder, because nobody thinks of fat people as having an eating disorder other than not knowing when to stop eating. And I probably sound really bitter right now, but it's because I'm not the only fat girl that I know that's had an eating disorder, and it angers me that people are so blind to what an eating disorder is, that it's not about how you look. Basically I was practically anorexic in the sense of my eating habits and my body dysmorphia. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a girl who had lost weight. I thought I looked fatter, to be honest, to myself. When I see pictures now, I looked ill. I didn't look good. But nobody noticed. Nobody noticed except my best friend, who eventually sort of caught on to what was going on, and she told me to stop, or she was going to tell my parents. So I did. I didn't want them to know. I didn't want to be that girl, who was starving herself. So I stopped. And as soon as I stopped, I gained the weight back. Quite rapidly, to be honest. And then I gained more weight because my metabolism, my metabolism is not great to begin with. That's just sort of a family trait. And then this kind of made it nosedive as well. So there I was again. Now I was fatter than I was when I started. And in that time, so much other stuff was going on that I just didn't want to do anything about it. And then I went to university and I met my husband, and he loved me for who I was and what I was and exactly the way I was. And I got comfortable, and I gained weight, steadily every year, basically. And then I got pregnant, and I never lost the baby weight. And then I got pregnant again, and I gained more baby weight. And yeah, and so on. And that's how I got to 460 pounds. I wish that I could explain why there wasn't a point where I thought to myself, this has to stop. I lost weight again in 2004. My husband and I moved to Australia for about a year, and before we went, I had quit my job. I went back to school for a while, and then I was working out with the trainer. I was going to the gym all the time. I was eating healthy, but I didn't actually lose that much weight. I gained muscle, but I didn't really lose weight. It didn't really change the way I looked. I was much healthier, but that wasn't really, good enough for me, I guess. And I kept that weight off for a while, but eventually, it came back. I don't know. I mean, like I said in a past video, I think I just gave up at one point. I just didn't want to deal with it. Just didn't care anymore. Got used to people's judgments. Got used to having a tough skin. Got used to people's comments. I felt like it was kind of a hopeless situation, and I didn't really think about the future. I just sort of stuck my head in the sand and figured, stuff was going to happen. But it got to be too much. It got to be too much. And so I've been considering surgery for a while because I knew that I had to do something. A lot of people that I know are overweight. My parents are overweight. My husband is overweight. My best friend is overweight. And that says something, I think, about my lifestyle. It's not just me. But my mom has type 2 diabetes. She also has MS, which complicates things. She's had high blood pressure. Diabetes runs on her side of the family. My husband's parents both have type 2 diabetes, and now my husband has type 2 diabetes as well. He was diagnosed, I guess, about a year and a half ago, shortly after my best friend was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes as well. They're both turning 35. So they were basically both diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in their early 30s. And I'm much more overweight than they are. I mean, they are not small men, but I'm much bigger than they are by a long shot. And so that was a wake-up call for me. That was a wake-up call that said, that I needed to do something about the situation, or I was going to end up there too. My mother told me one day that she had seen her diabetes specialist, and that he basically told her, based on what she had told him about me and my weight and my family history, that I probably had a 0% chance of not developing diabetes at some point if I didn't make changes. And that hit home too, for sure. So all of that said, that's what's gotten me here. And I can't be here anymore. That's the reason for surgery. That's the reason that it had to be now. I just can't do it anymore. Don't want to do it anymore. ready to make a change. I've made changes. It's been 2 months that I have made drastic changes in my diet and my lifestyle. And I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I'll be happier when I've had surgery and I have that tool to help me get to the weight that I need to be at, because I don't know that I really could do it on my own, just being honest. But yeah, I'm way happier than I was before this all started, and I'm very hopeful. I have hope, which I didn't have before. That's the magical ingredient, I guess, that I was missing. I didn't have that before. I really didn't. And now I do. Now I have hope that things will be better, that I will be healthier, that I will be able to be there for my friends and my family, my husband, my children. I love them, and I just want to be healthy for them because they deserve that. So, yeah, that is where I'm at. I'm sorry for all the emotional crying and all that in this video, but I just needed to get that out there. So, the surgery is a great thing, and I'm so excited. I don't have any doubts. I don't have any regrets for making the decision, and I'm ready. So, tomorrow's Tuesday. It's the day before I leave for San Diego and then on to Mexico. So I'm going to make one last pre-op video from home tomorrow. I'm going to talk just about what's been going on pre-op, a quick recap of what I've been doing. I'm going to do a little video showing you my kitchen and my little area of my kitchen, all the stuff that I bought to prepare for my surgery and post-op. And then hopefully I'll be making some videos while I'm in Mexico as well. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.